What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson. Back at it again here on the YouTube channel with another YouTube collaboration. Make sure you guys like, comment, and hit the bell. Subscribe if you're new, if you enjoy the content. And today I'm here with the brother we call Uncle D over in the sector of the Black Manosphere,
Right.
attorney at law. I will let him, expound on who he is and what his channel is about. Go ahead, family.
Well, my name is Dennis Spurling. I'm an attorney by trade. For the most part, I've been on YouTube maybe about 6 months now. Before that, I did a 10-year stretch on Facebook. And somewhere around about, August or September, I decided I'd venture over here to YouTube. So I really started getting my channel going. But on those years in Facebook, I decided to allow my page, beginning in 2016, I decided to allow my page to be a voice for brothers to speak, everyday Black men, just to get on here and speak. And they spoke, and I learned a lot. And I know that people were listening. And the reason I know they're listening because I'm an attorney, I'm a prominent attorney here in Houston, Texas. In addition to that, I had a television show that was out and co-parenting with the Spurlings. And so my popularity was increasing, people were listening. And it really showed me a lot. We as Black men, especially, we are sent to these positions, we get into our ivory towers, but sometimes we have a tendency to forget about where we came from. I never did. And even when I try to go away and vacation and have good times overseas, I would always think about my brothers back here in the United States. So I never quite left. I was always thinking about my cousins and my brothers and my family and whatnot, and other brothers that couldn't make it. And so I decided to, start opening myself up and giving you younger brothers and older brothers the advice that I wish somebody had given me and given a lot of my friends, before it was too late. At this point, a lot of my homeboys are locked up there in jail. I'm from South Central Los Angeles, born and raised, graduated from Manual Arts High School in 1992. So, I'm from the soil, I'm from the mean streets. It's a lot, I could go into, but for the most part, I'm a father. I had a lovely ex-wife that I have nothing bad to say about at all, ever. But the bottom line is, man, I've gone through a lot of the things that a lot of you brothers go through. I'm on the other side and I survived. So when I can, I give you a bit of my wisdom, and that's what Dennis Spurling Unfiltered is about. You're not getting Dennis Spurling from the TV. You get me unfiltered, and you really get my honest opinions. And I also open myself up and speak so that other brothers will feel open. We're making a lot of groundbreaking work, on my page. Brothers come there, and it's just like you sitting and talking to your uncle, and I appreciate the confidence they have in me.
All right. Well, you definitely are rising through the Negro ranks over here. So, no doubt about that. And the last interview that we did was very, very, very powerful. And one of the interviews that or one of the streams you stream, I think almost nightly now, is you said Black. You've been talking about this in several of your presentations.
Yeah.
This kind of idea that Black men are just too nice and easily walked over, and why Black men need to kind of stop that. I found that to be very interesting. Well, I mean, where does that come from, and what are you trying to get across when you mention that particular statement?
Well, the thing is, O'Shea, man, as I travel around the world, I see how other men are treated by their families, how they're treated by their cultures. Mm-hmm. They don't have to ask for respect. They're given respect purely because they're men. In those countries, those men are expected to do certain things, and the women are expected to do certain things, and the children are expected to do certain things until they become men and women, and then they fill their societal role. Here in the United States, Black men are expected to fulfill our societal role, i.e. traditionalism, but we don't reap the benefits that traditionalism has traditionally given to men, i.e. respect, submission, cooperation from our lovely ladies. And so what I'm saying is, if you guys would stop trying to be so nice about it and assert yourselves, set your boundaries and set your standards, things would change for you. We can't expect to nice our way into good treatment. We can't expect to nice our way and simp our way into respectability. It's just not going to happen. If you
Mm-hmm.
going, if people know that they can ride you, people know they can take advantage of you, they will. Now, as
Mm-hmm.
big and bad as we are with each other, if we would just assert ourselves,
Mm.
first, if we would just raise our standards and demand more from ourselves and then those around us, then
Mm-hmm.
things would change for us in the United States and everywhere else.
Now that's very interesting that you say that, because you said like men and other, and I've noticed that,
Yeah,
in Poland, where, no disrespect to Poland, but where I see guys, maybe, well, I see a lot of African American guys. I see guys in other cultures from the outside looking in, not as nice, doing less, getting more.
yeah,
And then you see guys who are in the black community who are nice, and then women say, "Oh yeah, he's too nice," right? It's like,
right.
uh, yeah, yeah. Explain why guys have not woken up from that, in your opinion.
Yeah, man. I mean, I call it the Queen Mother Goddess simp chip that's installed into our brains when we're little. And for the most part, we're taught that the ladies, the lovely ladies in our families and the lovely ladies we encounter on our street are inherently better than us. They're goddesses and queens, i.e., even if you was a crack fiend mama, you still was a black queen. This is just a human being with flaws and fallacies like everybody else, but we're still supposed to venerate them, which is a fallacy. You're supposed to treat a human being like a human being. But see, here's a problem. As I traveled around the world, I went to Colombia, I went to Dominican Republic. I know taxi drivers who get treated with respect and admiration from their wives and their children and their mothers and the other women in their family and the other men in the community. But here, a black man can damn near be Superman and still get treated like he's the dirt under the bottom of your shoe. And it's like, and what they'll tell us, oh, you need to earn respect. And I'm telling you, you are given respect in other countries and other cultures merely because you're a man. Case in point, if you see a woman being beaten on the street by some man, you're going to have an impulse to go help her. Why?
Right.
Not because you know her, not because she's earned your protection, just
Right.
because she's a woman, just solely because of her sex, solely because she's a woman, you're going to be compelled to come help her. As a man, then why is it that I have to earn your respect? You don't have to earn my protection, but I have to earn your respect. In other countries, respect is not earned, it's given. You see what I mean? To men, because that's the role that they play. So, I say all that to say, everybody holds us to these high standards, but we're not allowed to raise our standards. Your brothers are too nice. And you need to shut that down. Straight up.
When did you realize this? When did it click for you?
Yeah. So, I got divorced, as you guys know. It's a television show with the notes. And it was about 2011. I went to the Dominican Republic for the first time. I was like, I ain't going over there hanging out with the foreigners. Forget that, man. Blah, blah, blah. It's just a plane trip, nothing new. So I went over there. And the thing was, I got treated so nice, and I thought it was fake at first. You know what I mean? And then, I was like, that's not real. This is an illusion. This not. And then even before that, before I got married, I went to Brazil for the first time, and that was in 2004 before I got married. And I'm like, nah, this is a dream. This is not real. I'm steady telling myself this is illusion. It's not real. This has got to be fake. So after the divorce, I went to the DR, and then I went back to Brazil in like 2013, and I started saying, you know what, this is real. So by 2015, I actually started dating a Dominican girl. And then in 2016, I got real serious and I actually moved to the DR. Had a house in Porta Plata in Torre Alta. It's a nice neighborhood overlooking the ocean. And man, the woman would cook and clean and basically treat me like all I'm doing is paying the bills. And look, the rent was only $300 a month. It's not like I'm paying a lot. I rented a car. I gave it $20 to go get some food. And, life was good for like 3 or 4 years. Now, unfortunately, she had a child and I'm like, I can't be stepdaddy to your child. But what I'm trying to say is I got treated so well that I realized that this wasn't a dream. Now, here's a funny story, man. It was awkward at first letting her serve me. Like,
right. That's interesting. See, talk about it. Talk about that.
Because of that queen mother goddess simp chip in my head, I'm compelled to get up and wash dishes. I'm compelled to put my plate up. I'm compelled to go get my own food. I'm feeling awkward if I let my woman. I'm thinking my mom or my grandma or my auntie or somebody's gonna come out. Boy, don't let that girl do it. You think she's not a slave? Blah blah. I'm thinking that's gonna happen, and I'm like thousands of miles away in another country. But man, it took me a minute just to get used to just sitting there and being served. You know what I mean? And it wasn't that I was doing anything special. I mean, up here, man, I'm buying Bentleys and BMWs, and you know, I'm spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on bills and houses. I mean, my God, here for the salary that a taxi driver makes, I'm getting treated like a king. So I realized at that point, it wasn't me; it was the society that we were living. I then realized that I had been lied to by America. I then realized that this culture is toxic and it actually goes against everything that we as men are entitled to, and that's respect from your family, from doing a man's work and doing what men's supposed to do, that's protect and provide. And so, man, you know, but after I got used to it, bro, you couldn't tell me nothing when I got back here to the DR. I mean, when I got back from the DR, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to date any more of these lovely ladies here in the US. It's not worth it. I'm not getting everything I'm supposed to get. I know my value now. Right. And so that caused me to raise my standards for everybody around me. Because see, I had already raised the standards for myself. That's why I worked hard, got a perfect score on the bar examination. Went back to law school after I finished Southern, finished in the top third of my class. Went back to Tulane, got an LLM. And even in 2014, man, I was working on 2 PhDs and a biology degree in environmental toxicology, just so I could be more. But then, it's like, dude, how much more do I have to do to reach these standards? And see, what I realized, man, these lovely ladies, every time you get close to the finish line, they move the goalposts. So now they want a 6-figure dude that's making with a 6-pack to 6 feet tall. Now you got to be an 8-figure dude with an 8-pack. You see what I'm saying? And you got to buy Birkin bags every week. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not doing it. And so you don't have to do that, you know, but bottom line is, man, I raised the standards for everybody around me, and people weren't meeting those standards. So I'm like, I'm cool. And, before I met my girl now, who's actually Afro-Latina, who was raised traditionally, even though she's an Ivy League college grad, man, she treats me like I know I'm supposed to be treated. And here's the crazy thing. Because I know her culture and I've lived there, I put those expectations on her. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know what I'm supposed to get, sweetheart. You're not gonna play that game. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. Right. But you're gonna do what you're supposed to do, period. Otherwise, I'm gonna go to your motherland. That's where I got you. But no, man. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I want to kind of I know it's controversial, but since we're gonna go there, I've never been in the Dominican Republic, but I've been living in Europe. I've been to Africa. I've been to Brazil,
right?
And and obviously, I know that you definitely familiar with Kevin Samuels. I believe that's how you met.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I met him. I was done, man. I was done. But go ahead.
Right. Shout out to Kevin Samuels.
Shout out to Kevin, man. That's the
I noticed that a lot of brothers out there that are, let's say, higher performing, higher intellectual men, that can kind of cast their net wider to a more, different pool of women and stuff like that. Right. A lot of guys, and whether people want to talk about it or not, it is a conversation amongst, some of the more elite black men out there in the world that's African American. They're almost don't want to marry the women, as you would call them, the lovely ladies for our community. I think it's because some brothers are going to the Caucasians and things like that. And when I hear a lot of the women that are complaining about it, it's about colorism, it's about you hate yourself and things like that. And I've always said, no, you got to go back and look at what the other people or other groups. What's the treatment like? What's their idea of respectability of men? Do you think that that the African American relationships are pretty much done now, and you're going to see a lot of more black men going the Afro Latino route, a lot of black men going the the non-black route? What's your perspective on this?
Well, I think any man is only limited by his options, and the more money you have, the more time you have, if you can go take a flight overseas and get a better looking woman, you will. Colorism is just an excuse. You know what I mean? Colorism is, how about your attitude? Let's start with that. How about are you friendly? And how much do you weigh? You see what I mean? If you're attractive, brother's been dealing with attitudes from our lovely ladies for hundreds of years.
Right.
But it's only since 1970 that many of them have become obese, and so they're not as attractive as they used to be. Let's just keep it 100. You know what I mean? You can have an attitude, but if you fine, you still gonna have men. If you got an attitude, you got kids, you got all these bad habits, but you fine, there's a black man that will deal with you. But if you got all that issue, all that luggage, and you like 199 pounds, and you 5'4", I don't know.
What?
You
I don't know.
I don't know if my back. I got a bulging disc in my lower back. I don't know if I'm ready to do that with you. You pass my weight limit. This has nothing to do with your color, because when you turn this light out, everybody's the same color. It's like, how do you treat me? How much do you weigh? Right. Are you nice? Now, if you're a nice woman, you got a great attitude, you know what I mean? And you're a little overweight, I work with you, girl. We get that treadmill from Amazon. I work with you. See, here's the thing, O'Shea. Brothers have such low standards. Black men have some of the lowest standards I've ever seen of any, especially Black American men. Brothers will smash anything. So if you can't find a brother that'll smash you, then it's your problem, sweetheart. And what does it say about a man who's willing to pass up your free vagina that you giving out over here to go overseas and pay for some vagina in Colombia and Dominican Republic? That means it's like you got a store, you got a restaurant where you giving your food away for free, and then right across the street, this dude's lined up to go to their restaurant. That means your service is bad or your food is bad. They don't want your product. So you got to look at yourselves, ladies. If the men in your community would rather pay for plane tickets, pay for hotels, and then pay for Nana when they get to where they at, and you giving it away free here, that means you got an inferior product. You got to look within. Yeah.
Let me also, talk about this, because, it's easier to say, my standard is high because, I'm a lawyer or I'm a business owner, medical doctor. It's easier to say that once and obviously we're close to 40. So we've been, or over 40, we've been around for a long time now. So it's, guys kind of hit that stride. We do have a lot, I'm pretty sure you do also. We got a lot of younger guys out there now. Some that are between the ages of 19 and 25. A lot of my guys watch me 25 to 34.
Yeah.
So I like 40% of my audience from like 18 to like 35, right?
Right.
Guys who are not established in life yet. Guys who are still on that, I'm catching the bus. I mean, that struggle, that grind to get there. Yeah. What advice would you have for the guys that, obviously they're not there yet, okay, but and they're still trying to make it and establish themselves, don't really have a support system and things like that. How is it for them? It's easier said than done, obviously, but what advice would you have for the younger brothers coming up right now?
Man, it's greater later is what I'm telling you. It's greater later. It's 2021, and I just turned the corner in 2014. When I say I just turned the corner, what I'm saying was it took me until I was 39. I'm 46 now. It took me till I was 39 till I got to the point where I could be like, wow, everything's cool. It takes about 20 years to work yourself out of poverty. So let's say you go to school, you graduate, you start making money 4 years out. So now you're 22. You should turn that corner by about the time you're 42. In other words, the point where you go from being poor to being middle class, or go from poor to being upper middle class. It takes about 20 years. It takes time, fellas. But see, here's the thing. You shouldn't feel a rush, because your biological timeline is not the biological timeline of the typical woman. Your biological timeline is totally different. Women, for the most part, man, their best years are from the age of about 18 to about 25. And then after that, it's a slow decline down. I think the brothers on the internet refer to it as the wall. And so, the thing is, they got to rush out and try to bag a ball. They got to hurry up and get the best they can get. They got to put it all out there on the line, get what they can get. But see, at the point where they hit 35, it's a wrap. They only getting, they kind of out. They're leftovers. They're, they're competing with 20-something-year-olds. And so it's a different situation. On the flip side, as a man at 35, you're just getting started. And at 40 is when you finally grown. You got your sense about you. You should establish yourself. If you do it right, man, it's wonderful. I haven't dated a woman over 30 years old ever. What? Okay. And so, and it's because, I've escalated, my value. But here's the crazy thing, man. Even when I was a young man, I just refused. I had standards then. I wasn't smashing anything. I wasn't dealing with anyone because I was establishing my standards then and my boundaries. How far you can go with me. With me, a woman has one shot. You got one shot. You say something out of line. I already know you off the squad. I'm putting you on. You headed to the shower. And so you have to have that attitude. It's that self-value that you have for yourself, that high self-esteem. And the crazy thing is, O'Shea, man, here in the U.S., we're always the bad guy. We're always the thugs. We're always the criminals. We're always the one who's done something wrong. So they're always playing on our self-esteem here in the United States, basically teaching us as Black men that we're not worthy. And so, yeah, I understand why a lot of Black men have esteem issues. But at some point, man, you got to just begin to look at yourself, value yourself, and recognize who you are. And that is a child of God. And this whole earth belongs to you. When I tell the guys on my pages, I say, man, shoot, embrace being the bad guy. So instead of just reaping a harm from being the bad guy, reap the benefits of being the bad guy. Trust me, I am the bad guy. I'm the bad guy who goes overseas and deals with fine women. And I'm the bad guy who really doesn't care what you think. I'm going to say what I have to say as long as it's truthful and I'm being honest and I'm speaking from the heart. And it doesn't matter because it's liberating. You see what I mean? So, man, it's a lot I could say on that subject, man. But for you young guys, for the most part, man, relax, build yourself up, become the best man you can be, get your physical fitness, your emotional stability, get your finances together, build your career, establish your financial base, own some property, and then after you get 35 in your late 40s, 35, late 30s, early 40s, then start contemplating whether or not you want to have a serious relationship. But only then, only after you build yourself up, so that way you can command a higher price for yourself. You can command the people around you raise their standards, and that's how that works.
No, I definitely agree. It's been go ahead, man, and tell people about the reality show, brother, and about your channel, all that stuff.
All right, well, for the most part, man, the channel, everybody, I'm Dennis Spurling, Unfiltered. Oftentimes I do twice a day. I have a lot to say, and again, I don't plan on being on YouTube forever, but my body of work here remains. There's a lot of concepts I like to talk about, and mostly it has to do with development as men. A lot of us Black men, we didn't have father figures. We didn't have that strong patriarchal father figure in our life. And what I try to do is I try to pull from all the different men that I've encountered in my life, my uncles, my football coaches, my father, my adopted father, my biological father, all these different people, man, that my stepfather, even all these different people that have come and influenced my life. And I picked the best parts of each one of those men and incorporated those into my character. And so what you see here is a composite of those different men. And so, I tell the brothers, be unapologetic, in your purpose, fulfill your purpose, do what it is, God, focus on what you believe God has for you to do, and you'll know what it is. And then at the point where you're well on your way, if you decide at that point you want to have a wife, fine, go ahead and do that. Now be careful. I always talk to the brothers about getting robbed in family court. It's not that I'm against marriage, I'm just against brothers getting robbed in family court, having their children snatched away from them after the woman decides that she wants to get a divorce. So I've even gone over different financial tools that they can use, trust accounts and revocable trust accounts, prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements, establishing LLCs and incorporations to hold holdings for their proceeds so that they remove the financial incentive out of a divorce. Now, as far as child custody, that's a whole nother subject, not a whole lot you can do about it. You're just gonna have to take that L. It's unfortunate. But for the most part on the page, I talk about development, and my goal is to have, I focus on Black men, but the stuff that I have, man, all men can benefit. I have an Italian guy call me up and say, man, you're the first person I've ever had talk to me about generational wealth on your page. And I'm like, well, cool, man. My page helps build all men, but I focus on Black men only because we don't have so many role models. And so I try to cater things to them, and it keeps them interested. That's my core audience anyway. But for the most part, financial stability, emotional stability, political knowledge, health, all these things. This is what I want. I want healthy, strong Black men around the United States. That's not just good for me and the Black community, but it's also good for America in general. Now, as far as the TV show, it's called Co-Parenting with the Spurlings. It's now playing on Tubi. I will put the screen up right now, O'Shea, if you want to let people look at it. That's what the backdrop looks like on Tubi, if you want to let folks in on that. But for the most part, the link to this is going to be in the chat room here, and you can check it out. But the way this happened was, man, I'm, as an attorney, I got to set myself apart. I'm doing car accidents and personal injury here in Texas and Louisiana, and it's 100,000 lawyers around here. And so I have to try to figure out how I make set myself apart. So what do? I decide, well, let me come up with some TV commercials. So, I'm like, I did a commercial with myself, and I'm this middle-aged guy. Nobody wants to look at me. So what I ended up doing, I said, well, let me come up with a concept, and I incorporated my sons in it. At the time, the oldest was 3, the youngest may have been like 1 year old. And so I put them in a cherry red lowrider on some Daytons, right? With switches, right? With some gates in the back. And we basically filmed a commercial as if they had stolen my car and were driving around the neighborhood hitting switches. And people liked it. I'll put that link in the chat room too. It's called Bad Driver. Maybe O'Shea could put it in later on. It's called Bad Driver. People really liked that. They liked the kids. It was fun. It was different. I pop up at the end with the grimace on my face. And they're like, all right, that's cool. So, I said, okay, that perks some interest. They like that. I said, well, let me incorporate a little bit more. So I put another commercial out with my kids. And that was, I think that first commercial, Bad Driver, was 2012. 2013, 2012, actually, that was 2011. In 2013, I came up with, 2012, I came up with Little Texans. That's when my boys, they actually had a speaking part. And people thought it was so cute. It just went over well. The funny thing was, at that point, the women and the men were like, well, what these kids' mama look like? These cute, little smart kids. And of course, not wanting to give a brother any credit for anything, they wanted to see what the mama looked like. So at that point, I talked to my lovely, wonderful, beautiful, fantastic ex-wife, and she agreed to be in a commercial that we call Premier Wife. And it is straight out of Red Pill content. Basically, she talks about how, hey, I'm such and such. I'm former Mrs. Spurling, and that's my ex-husband sitting over there behind us. And I need y'all to call him and give him your car accident cases, because I need you guys to pay him so he can give me more money. And that's what we first wives do. The more money he gets, the more money I get. And so, man, that went over. It was that awkward comedy that, like, oh, it's truthful, but damn, that was painful to listen to. But people loved it. It was that kind of Seinfeld comedy. It puts you in that Archie Bunker kind of, it's real. This is how people really are. Ooh, you just put it on our face like that. That hurt to hear, but it was funny. It went over well. And from there, I said, well, hell, we can do a TV show behind this. And that's why Co-Parenting with the Spurlings popped up. It was the highest rated season. So that was 2016 was the first season. It was the highest rated show in its slot, Sunday mornings right before the football game. It went over so well, we did another season, Co-Parenting with the Spurlings 2, and season 2, and that was also the highest rated season. It's a positive show. It's about myself and my ex-wife raising our sons. We do a lot of real stuff. We have a lot of guest appearances, including Coleon the War, Just Brittany, Beans and Cornbread, a lot of local artists and talent and people here out in the Texas area. And so that's what happened, man. And it's been a dream. Now, this COVID-19 situation hit. I got a phone call. And they like, look, what about that show you had out? I'm like, who, me? And I was like, yeah. And so they asked for it. I sent it to them. They took it and put it on Tubi. And that's it, man. I mean, it's just an interesting situation. The crazy thing, man, they've asked me to produce more television shows. And I'm not saying I won't do it in the future. But what I'm saying is I'm now looking for people who have completed projects, whether they're movies, whether they're reality shows, documentaries, series, anything you got, man, hit me up at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. My thing is trying to make Black and brown people look good, but white people, I don't want to get white people to anybody. I don't want that stereotypical crap. You know what I mean? I want new, interesting shows. So if you're a unsigned local talent, you like doing television shows, documentaries, you have this. I need finished project. I need off the shelf. You see what I mean? Don't call me up like, look, man, I got this idea, and if you just give me $78,000, no, I don't want that. You already finished. Maybe we have to put some finishing touches on it. But for the most part, man, it's just a new business adventure for me, man. You know, it's a new business venture. So that's where I'm at now. Check out Co-Parenting with the Spurlings. I got the link here too for you guys to check out. It's a funny show. It's good. It's lighthearted. The kids are cute. You see my ex-wife try to give me the blues. I'm fighting back the whole time, brother. You know, the whole it's not what you think it is. It's not easy out here in these YouTube streets, man. She is not coming. I'm still paying child support. You know what I'm saying? I'm still, right. Yeah. What you know? I'm not getting any favors, so
right.
Yeah, I'm taking them rights and lefts, man. I'm just ducking and trying to get up on it. So
right.
It's a good, man. It's a good show, man. Check out Co-Parenting with the Spurlings on Tubi, man. And let me know if y'all like it, bro.
All right. So, guys, I'll put the link there in the first comment pinned to the top. Check out Dennis Spurling's YouTube channel. I thank you guys for watching. Hit the bell. And, so, guys, and as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.